Here in Bethlehem, you will find these handsome signs planted by the state of Pennsylvania, commemorating the people, places, and things that are of historic significance in the Commonwealth. There are more than 2,000 throughout Pennsylvania. But did you know that there are nearly 30 right here in Bethlehem? That should not surprise anyone because Bethlehem is a historically significant city. If you have been following our Exploring Bethlehem series of mini documentaries, you know that we have touched on many of the subjects of the signs here in the city. Among the famous people celebrated and memorialized by this signage are people who need little introduction, like Colonel Edwin Drake, credited with drilling the first successful oil well, or Samuel Wetherill, who was a pioneer in the zinc business. How about ironmaker John Fritz? And of course, modern steel magnates such as Charles M. Schwab and Eugene G. Grace. But speaking of iron and steel, what about the rather obscure tribute to Henry Noll? There is a sign located here along East 3rd Street, very close to the former plant entrance. Who exactly was Henry Noll, and why do we commemorate him?
Henry Noll was a resident of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and was made famous in a fictionalized anecdote used by Frederick Winslow Taylor to illustrate his theories of scientific management. Taylor was an American mechanical engineer. He was widely known for his methods to improve industrial efficiency. He was one of the first management consultants. In 1909, Taylor summed up his efficiency techniques in his book, The Principles of Scientific Management, which, in 2001, Fellows of the Academy of Management voted the most influential management book of the 20th century. Noll came to public attention in the writing and speaking of scientific management proponent Taylor. He describes a study conducted at Bethlehem Steel in 1898 regarding the loading of pig iron onto railroad cars. At the start of the study, workers were loading an average of 12.5 tons of pig per laborer per day and received a wage of $1.15 per day, regardless of individual output. The Bethlehem Steel management wanted to increase workers' output and shift to a piece rate wage. Under the target piece rate, workers would have to load more than 30 tons per day, or 250% of the current output, to earn the same wage. Two of Taylor's employees worked at the Bethlehem Steel plant, experimenting with loading strategies and searching out exemplary workers to serve as models for the assertion that a good day's wages could be made at the existing rates by a good man. Henry Noll was one of the workers identified by Taylor's employees as being capable of loading the target rate of 49 tons per day, and therefore being able to earn the increased efficiency wage of $1.85. Other workers who had tried and failed to load the target rate, including workers who injured themselves and were no longer able to continue, were excluded from the analysis. Although described with the name Schmidt in Taylor's example, in reality, Schmidt was Henry Noll. The original research reports recorded his height as being 5 feet 7 inches, weight 135 pounds. He was not the shortest worker among those recorded by the researchers, but he did weigh the least. Originally a native of nearby Shimerville, Pennsylvania, at the time he lived at 812 Laufer Street, on the south side of Bethlehem. He had purchased land and later completed a house at 313 Martin Lane on the north side. He was a volunteer fireman at the Goodwill Fire Department, close to his house on Martin Lane. He is buried at Bethlehem Memorial Park.
Henry Noll's ambition and unusual work ethic earned him a place of great honor among some of the most famous and esteemed people in Bethlehem.